Hey, what is going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 16, the finale review, which is titled, I Lose Myself. Now, I'm honestly very disappointed in this episode, and I just want to preface by saying I don't think this season was bad by any means. I just don't think it was as good as I hoped and expected it to be. And there's a few reasons why, and I really want to do a video where I go over Season 4 and say how they could have made it 20 times better with just a few changes, and a lot of it has to do with the second half of the season. A decent amount of it has to do with the first half, but I think the season started off very strong. The first 3 or 4, the first 5 episodes, I'm going to be honest, were all fantastic. I thought Season 4, the first 5 episodes, all really good. I was invested in the story. It was kind of weird how they were flip-flopping between timelines, but I was still invested. Then episodes 6, 7, and 8 kind of were disappointing. I was like kind of confused as to why they made some of the choices that they did. Like, what was the point of killing off Madison? Episode 8 had some weird stuff going on. They didn't really show off exactly what happened at the stadium. We just kind of had a general idea. They killed off the vultures way too quickly. And then they moved on with the rest of the story into the second half of season 4. And it started off strong. Again, the first half started off really strong. Episode 9, 10, 11, I thought were all really good episodes, and I enjoyed them a lot. But then it just seems like there was no sense of direction. There was no sense of actual story. I look at the second half of Season 4, and I don't really see much story. It's mainly just character development, which character development is so important. It is, okay? I'm not going to sit here saying the whole season is filler because that's not true. But it is all primarily character development for the second half of Season 4 at least. There really is no actual storylines happening, you know? There's the whole crazy lady Martha thing going on, but that's not really a storyline because there's no weight to it. There's no extreme stakes behind it. There's nothing really large or massive going on about the situation. It's just some crazy lady out there is threatening people. That's really it. She's no threat to the group. I don't know why they made it seem like she was some scary villain who had all these big, it was one of the most dangerous villains we've ever seen. That's what they made her seem like. She's literally a crazy lady with a walker tied to a rope. Honestly, it would have been so much better if they just made this lady like, I don't know, she had a gun or something, okay? Maybe she had an actual weapon, because the walker on the thing is just so unpractical, and I don't know how she was able to kill so many people with that, but I don't know. Her character was used in a good way with Morgan, though. I do like how it's kind of a mirror of how Morgan was back in the past, and I do like how this episode explored that, but they should have just had Martha be a one-episode thing. Like, maybe Morgan comes across this crazy lady trying to kill everybody, like episode 13 or 14, around there, and we see Morgan trying to turn her good, and it clearly not working, but she gets like bitten somehow, and then he almost kills her by choking her out, but he ends up stopping himself, realizing this is not who I am, and he just lets her die, like how we did in this episode, which I liked that. I thought that was a really good scene, but we did not need that in the finale. We did not need this character to be developed over 5 episodes just for one important factor. The only importance Martha has to the entire story is for Morgan's character. That's it. There's no importance of Martha at all in any other situation. So she was just kind of a waste of a villain, was just kind of there, and only really was used for one thing. So if you're going to make a character only used for one thing, don't have her be over the span of 5 episodes. You just shouldn't. It's just not a good idea. Something this show really does lack is action as well. Now, I'm not an action junkie. I'm not a person that says we need action 24/7. But if you don't have an actual story going on and it's just kind of character development, you gotta give us some action because we're gonna get bored. Character development is great for episodes here and there. You need those episodes because we need to actually care about these characters, right? But you can't do a whole season of it. You just can't. Season 7 of The Walking Dead is a good example. Season 7 was primarily character development and build up for the big war in Season 8. which is good. I think that's okay. We needed a whole build-up season. I think we really did. But this season kind of felt like they were doing a build-up to something, but we never got anything. There was really no sense of direction. You know what I'm saying? There was a sense of direction in Season 7. It was showing us towards something, which was the war. And as it went along, there was action along the way. Entertaining scenes, new characters being introduced. That is important. But you look at Season 4 of Fear, and when I say Season 4, I really only mean the second half. The first half, I think, it didn't really have that much story either. I think, no, the first half had story, but it had flawed story that I felt like wasn't very well done. I don't know, in my opinion, but when I say this, I'm talking about the overarching season. It doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the season at all. It doesn't mean I didn't enjoy any episode, because I did. I did enjoy some episodes. But, for example, this episode is not a good finale. It's just not. I like the whole idea of her poisoning the water and all of them getting sick because of it and being stuck in there, but then some ridiculous shit happened. Like, I'm not one to complain about stuff like this, like inconsistencies or unrealistic things. I'm not one to complain about it, because I realize it's a TV show. Of course there's going to be things that seem like they're unrealistic or coincidental or whatever it may be. But I just could not get over the fact that they had the ethanol in that truck, okay? Which, first of all, is a huge coincidence on itself. But I can get over that, right? They go out to get it. They have trouble opening it. So then when Al shoots the gunner, it shoots holes in it, and then the stuff starts pouring out, right? They had a bucket. They could have taken that bucket, put it under where it was pouring out, and boom, they would have had a whole thing of ethanol, and they could have drank in it. They could have drank in it one by one. And you're telling me that they didn't think of that? In the minute long it probably took for all the ethanol to pour out onto the floor, which is a long ass time. I'm sure it didn't all pour out within 2 seconds. They had time to put the bucket under there. But you mean to tell me no one thought of that? Like, I understand people make bad decisions in real life. People make wrong decisions that cause problems, or they don't think of things, or they don't have the same thought process as maybe the viewers do. But I can't realistically think that not one person out of that 10-person group would not realize, okay, we can just push the bucket under there and fill it up. Hell, they could have even drank in the ethanol off the goddamn ground, in the puddles in the ground. They could have done that if they really needed to. And you mean to tell me that not one of them did anything about it? Not one. What? Look, if you don't want to have that be an issue, if you don't want that to have to be something that we complain about, then don't have that happen. Don't have them shoot it. If you did not want them to get the ethanol and you wanted Morgan to get back with the beer so they have to drink the beer and they have the scene that they did, then just don't have the ethanol be there in the first place. Or maybe have it be there, but have it blow up or something. Maybe the gunner shoots the gas tank and the whole thing blows up. If that happens, how are you going to get it, right? That makes actually sense. But what happened just didn't make sense, and I was just sitting there like, what? I don't know. And they also should have explained the whole fact that ethanol is in beer thing, because not everybody knows that ethanol is in beer. Not everyone knows that, okay? I didn't even know that. And maybe, you might say I'm stupid or something, or you fans should just know that. Well, I'm sorry. I never knew ethanol was in beer. I didn't really know exactly. I'm not a chemist major. So they should have kind of made that clear, because I was confused. He was like, is ethanol another word for beer? And I was like, wait, what? And they're all drinking beer and they're all like not sick anymore. I was like, what? I was so confused. You don't even understand. They didn't make anything clear, and there was no high stakes like battle or fight against anything in this episode. It was just kind of not finale material. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at every finale we've had in the past, they've always given us something. But this is just Morgan trying to get home to save people with beer. It's like, I don't know. I feel like they should have just kept the vultures alive, or had Mel and his group, at least a few of them, stay alive until like the end of this half, and have them be a threat again, and have the group, have to deal with that. I feel like that would have been more entertaining to watch. And I keep complaining. I know I don't want to complain, because I do think Fear the Walking Dead I think season 4 is not better overall than season 3, but I think it has better sort of, I don't know. It's really hard for me to think about which one I like better, because Fear the Walking Dead season 1 I think is pretty poor. I thought it was an okay start to it, right? Season 2 I think was actually pretty terrible, other than the last few episodes, but everything else I think was just really just, I didn't care about season 2 that much. Season 3 was definitely a step up, but it had major issues, like the way they killed off Travis. I know Travis had to die because the actor wanted to leave, but it was still a terrible way to kill him off. It just was pointless, made his death pointless. Troy, I'm not too sure about the actor, if he wanted to leave or not, but it was still a bad death. They shouldn't have killed him that way. The whole, some of the action sequences, the directing, it was really choppy and not very well done. That's something season 4 fixed. Season 4 fixed the choppy directing. They made it so it's not, so it looks more like The Walking Dead, which is better directing and better editing and better style. It seems better, and that's where season 4 is better. But where I think season 3 is better is just the overall direction the show was going in, some of the characters stuff going on. It's all good in season 4, but it's just the way they did it. Like, I felt like the second half of season 4 had no point to it. There was nothing really going on. It was just the characters just going about. Yes, they had some stuff happening, like, okay, we were planning on going to Alexandria and all that, but was that really that major of a storyline? Like, you can compare this to the second half of season 4, okay, of The Walking Dead, but the major difference there is that there were so many mini storylines going on at that same time. But there really was no mini storylines going on here. Like, you had the Carol, Lizzie, and all that stuff going on with Carol, Lizzie, Mika. That's an interesting storyline going on. You had these claimers, the new group of people who were going after Rick's group because Rick ended up killing one of them. You had the stuff with Daryl trying to help out Beth, and then Beth getting kidnapped and all that. You have Maggie trying to do her best to find Glenn. You had all these different things happening, but then you look at the second half of season 4 for Fear, and it's like, it's Morgan going back and forth on whether or not he wants to go to Alexandria. Not really much happening with June. Not really much happening with Al. We learned a little bit about her past, but that's really it. Not really much happening with John other than some badass moments and learning that he's more of a positive person rather than what's his name, Strand, being a negative person. The most amount of actual story we had was the stuff with Alicia and Charlie in that one episode. That was you know, that had weight to it. That had emotion and a powerful story going on. I did also like the new group, the dude in the wheelchair. I forget his name. I think it's like I can't remember. And then Sarah, the new girl, and then Jim. I was interested in those characters. I thought they had an interesting story. The fact that the one guy makes beer, and then the other guys are putting these little things around the place to, you know, help people out, and they had this little place. I thought it was a good story, but just the way it was executed just kind of fell flat. It fell flat in his face. It really did. It's unfortunate, but it's just, I don't know. I'm excited for season 5. I'm going to be honest, because I think all this development is going to be important for the future of the show. I think a few things the show needs to do to be successful is return old characters. Now, I don't know how they can do this because, you know, a lot of characters tend to, you know, the actors tend to not be available and stuff like that. But if the actors are available, or actresses, bring back old characters. Telltale did a huge mistake of not returning a bunch of old characters from the past and always just forgetting about them. They love to do that. Obviously, they brought back Lily, which is great for episode 2. I'm really happy they did that. But still, they have tons of other characters just left out in the open. You don't want to leave characters out in the open like that, unless they're not important. So they need to return characters and finish characters' story before they get rid of them. So, for example, Daniel Salazar. That motherfucker should come back in season 5. And if he doesn't, I'm going to be so insanely pissed off. They need to bring him back. They need to. 100% need to. They should. I don't think they need to, but they should bring back the, what's his name? Walker, I think was his name. I forget like his first name. I think Walker was his last name. And then the dude who was with Crazy Dog or whatever. I wasn't a big fan of that like group, but bring them back anyways. They're still out there, so it's still someone to bring back. You know what I'm saying? Bring back maybe some random people from like Tobias from season 1. Just bring back characters just to make it so people have, you know, reconnections to older seasons. Because yes, season 4 was trying to reboot this series almost, because they felt like season 1 to 3 were just not successful. They were trying to reboot this series in a sort of sense. That's why they crossed over Morgan. That's why they have tons of new characters. That's why they killed off Madison and only left behind the characters that they feel like actually need to be there. That's why I do think that Daniel is coming back, because why would they keep around Strand if they weren't going to kill, why would they keep around Strand if they weren't going to bring back Daniel? I feel like the only reason to keep around Strand is so when Daniel comes over, they actually have, you know, the interaction between each other, because Daniel's not really connected to anyone else that's part of the group right now other than Strand. If Madison was still alive, they could have done that. But I don't know. I still don't know why they kill off Madison. I don't like Madison. I didn't like the actress. I'm sorry, Kim Dickens. I didn't like, you know, your abilities in this role specifically. I thought you were phenomenal in other series and other movies, but for this particularly, I was not a fan. I was not a fan of the character. I had no interest in the character. But that does not mean they should kill her off for absolutely no reason. There was no reason to kill her off. It just made Alicia go crazy. That's the only effect it had. But they killed off Nick anyways, so you could have had that make Alicia go crazy, and it would have done just the same effect, you know, maybe just to a little less of an extent. I don't know. I think I complained enough today. I think they need to work on the way they do the storytelling, not the writing itself, because the writing itself is good. I think that the dialogue, the scenes, they're well written. They have good deep symbolism behind them, and I think they have a good writing team. It's the storyboard, just the direction that they go in. Like, why are they doing what they're doing? You know, do something that'll keep people intrigued. Do something that'll keep people wanting to watch the next one. I just don't feel like they've done a good job at that this season so far, or at all, really. They need to take the group of writers, go in story room, and say, what are we going to do with season 5? What are we going to do to keep people invested in the story? We need to do something completely new that Fear the Walking Dead has never done, that The Walking Dead has never done. We need to do something that's going to be entertaining, that's going to be action-packed, that's going to have tons of emotional scenes, that's going to have some characters dying, because that's just how The Walking Dead works. Characters have to die. We're going to have to introduce new characters that have interesting, unique motives and unique stories to them that is different than any other character we've seen before. Obviously, you can have some similarities, it's okay, but don't make them a complete carbon copy of another character that we've had before, unless you're trying to draw a parallel. If you're trying to draw a parallel, that's okay. Give us that. Just give us that. Give us better directed scenes. Sometimes Fear the Walking Dead, like I said, season 4 is definitely better than season 3 in terms of how the scenes are directed and edited, but they did have some problems here or there where it just looks wonky, and it's just like, what happened, you know? If they do that, it'll be successful, and I think season 5 has the potential. I'm really excited for season 9 of The Walking Dead next week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will be bringing you guys reviews for season 9, of course. Obviously I will be, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and peace out.